Governor Bobber. I like good day, doctors.
George Allen here. Good day, doctors.
Hey, this is Governor Chris Christie from New Jersey. Good day, doctors.
Go! You're watching Dr. Politics.
It is Friday, September 5th. Christmas is just right around the corner.
Well,
and Thanksgiving is down the street.
Don't say that.
And and we're almost at Columbus Day.
Actually, I had the date wrong. No, you had the date wrong. It's the 7th, right? 6th is the date.
Today's the 6th, yeah. What did I say, the 5th?
I think you said the 5th, yeah.
Oh, it's the 6th. Close enough. Good enough for government work, as they'd say, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, as I was saying, it's like we're right there, and elections.
Dwight's stuck in a different time zone. A lot of us over the years have accused Dwight of being stuck in the past, right? Maybe 50 years, 20, focused on Spiro Agnew.
Right.
But never has he been just exactly one day behind.
By the way, more than I'm reading about the moratorium, the more I think President Nixon should have arrested all those trees.
Well, let me tell you something. I think being stuck in a different century is a positive. I take that as a compliment when they say that I'm stuck.
I do too. Back when
we had better centuries than
Reagan was president.
That's right.
Richard Nixon was still alive. Spiro Agnew was still alive.
Yeah, that's right.
We could have Spiro run.
Right, while you were gone, David made sure that he mentioned Spiro Agnew's name once.
Yeah, we kept
the show.
There you go.
Yeah, we kept it going.
Good.
At least one mention Spiro Agnew. The great one.
Yeah. By the way, see this right here?
Yep.
This is in Prince George's County. Years ago, this used to be a man-made lake. Now it's the tribe bed. But you see this dirt over here? Last year, that dirt was on this side, and they moved it to this side. Now they're moving this dirt over back to this side. You know what I call it? I call it a jobs program. And this is what it looked like when we had that hurricane rain.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a jobs program where you pay people to move the dirt from one side of the pond to the other. But it's been a busy week, right? A lot of things going on. Kamala Harris has got a debate next week. And
is she going to get to use notes?
I don't know, but is she going to cry? I think she's going to start to cry. She'll pull an Ed Muskie. And then she'll go, "Why are you so mean to me?" When President Trump, Well,
I do think she'll get the questions in advance. But the problem with having the notes, and I don't know how they resolve that, she wanted to have notes. And my guess is, because she's going to get the questions, and then the notes, she can have the answers. Then she can go ahead and read the answer.
Well, there was a kid I went to high school with. You could give him the answers to the test weeks ahead, and he'll still fail the test.
That's true. But that's why I think she wanted the notes. So then, because if you just give her the questions, she may forget and get discombobulated and still have a word salad. But if she can write them down and then go to the notes, maybe she'll be okay.
I don't know. I don't think they should have notes, frankly.
I agree. I agree with you. I'm just saying that was what I thought she was pushing for. I thought that was
but she didn't get that. I just double checked that because it's basically the same rules as the last debate.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
But her big complaint was the mics being off when you're not speaking because she wants Trump to go off,
right?
Do that. So she's doing a little bit of kind of lowering expectations by saying, well, we're going to do the debate, right? But I really think the mic should be on. I'm really not happy. And ABC has assured me that if there's something really interesting going on or whatever, they'll turn on the mics. So she's kind of doing a little bit of, pre whatever to kind of say, because I think there are a lot of people who are not convinced or convinced that, her performance at this upcoming debate is not going to be all that great.
Well, and I think
the working for ABC now.
Well, I think, like I said, I think the key is, and I think, Don, we all agreed last time that what helped Trump by having the mic off. You got to let her speak, just like you got to let Biden speak. Number one, you appear to be civil, be a gentleman. And secondly, the more she speaks, she's just going to get herself into a word salad. So just let her speak.
You gotta let her hang herself.
We will have another deadline of time or whatever that was she said, right?
Yeah, the passage of time, unburdened. What can be unburdened by the passage of time? So, what can be unburdened?
I will agree with
by what it's been.
I'd agree with David, and I think it frankly also helps to turn the mic off because Trump's remarks when he shouldn't be speaking tend to be the more unscripted ones, and so having a clear break and having her say her piece, having her do her thing actually makes more sense.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and who knows? Trump, in 4 years ago with Biden, had Trump been more disciplined in that debate, had he let Biden speak and not interrupted all the time, who knows? It might have been different. I mean, you might have had a different result.
I mean, I think he'll win the debate, frankly, because I'm basically going to do what Democrats do. Every single debate a Democrat is at, like Democrats to this day still think Al Gore won the presidential debate with George W. Bush with all his sighing. I wonder if she's going to sigh like Al Gore.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember the Gore. Yeah.
Well, I think it's. I mean, I think that this year's race is a little different in terms of the dynamic. They want to make Trump into kind of a cartoon, comic book villain, and make the election focused on that, and avoid to talk about the issues that people I think care about, like the economy. And to the extent that a debate naturally changes that dynamic, because you've got, what are you going to do about Hamas? What are you going to do about Israel? What are you going to do to Ukraine? What are you going to do about the economy? If a debate is allowed to run its regular course, you naturally end up coming back and focus on issues. And that's not their strategy. Their strategy is Trump's a villain, Orange Man bad.
Right.
And
I agree. That's right. I mean, I think the focus on the issues is Trump should just focus on the issues himself and show that type of discipline.
He needs to really push the economy. It's the economy, stupid as that Cajun Clinton campaign manager
James
would
Garvey,
say. Yeah.
I agree.
It's an interesting dynamic. I mean, the MSNBC crowd have talked themselves. I think they've gaslit themselves on the economy. They've been telling themselves that everything's fine. They use a sort of Keynesian model exclusively about unemployment is down and everything else. That they're not looking at the inflation issue that people care about. They're not looking about people who are worried about affordability of buying a house. I mean, there's a different set of issues if you're kind of comfortable and you're in the top 20%. I don't think they're really prepared to discuss those issues.
I mean, they're just clueless because none of those people do their own shopping. Because if they go to the grocery store, they would know the price of milk is close to $5. The loaf of bread is $5. A bag of cookies, which has been shrinkflationed, is $5.
Yeah.
Butter is like $6-7, and that's the stuff they mix what we call olive oil in, so it's spreadable butter. Regular butter is about the same price, maybe a little bit less than the olive oil mixed butter that you buy in the tubs. But butter is expensive. Eggs are still expensive. I mean, I hear this last year on Halloween, the kids had to use those plastic eggs where you put candy in when they were egging houses because they couldn't afford to egg the houses because the eggs were so expensive. Yeah.
I went to the store.
You're in close, twice
Well,
in
I went to-
contact with the terrorist wing of the under
Terrorist.
18 set.
Yeah.
Well, I went to the store yesterday. A friend of mine, all I picked up was 4 packages of sandwich meat
Yeah.
and a coffee. $40. $40. I mean, I was like, what the heck? And that's just ridiculous. So,
See,
but you know,
what you miss, I was going to say, what you miss about Democrats is that they've been shopping at Whole Foods all along. So
yeah.
they've been used to. This is not the Aldi crowd. This is people who've been used to paying through whatever.
And, Whole Foods actually is gotten even more expensive. I mean, I used to go to Whole Foods and buy baguettes. Now I go to the bakery to buy the baguettes.
Yeah.
Or I go to I tell you, Amazon Fresh has the best baguettes ever. I've gone there. They taste really good. They're great for making sandwiches. They're great for making pizza on the baguette. I mean, it's Whole Foods actually has, not Whole Foods, but I think it's actually the same stuff. But Amazon Fresh, I like the fact where I go in there, I swipe my credit card, I can go just start putting stuff in my cart. I don't have to wait in line, And by the way, they don't charge me a quarter to take a shopping cart out.
Yeah.
Well,
when people talk about the joyful campaign of Kamala Harris, is it joyful to go shopping? Is it joyful to go to the register?
They are joyless, is what they are.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why it just shows how out of touch the media. All right, well.
You did, I know. Dwight just has this hang up about the whole quarter thing.
No, I mean, let me tell you. Okay,
not everybody's got a quarter around to do it, so it's kind of
who cares? I don't even have loose change, first of all. So that's like who carries loose change around anymore? After the pandemic, it's like we've all stopped carrying cash because you carry, yeah. You also have enough change to make exact change.
You don't have a quarter. Go find a Lidl where the prices are similar and their shopping carts.
I actually like Lidl a lot better than Aldi's.
Lidl's are coin jar or something.
Do you carry like 4 pennies, a nickel, a dime, 2 dimes, and a quarter at all times so you can make exact change?
Yeah. So how do you plan to buy votes, Dwight?
Those days are over.
Well, speaking,
you can't get your cash out all at once.
Well, speaking of loose change, I was at the library and they had a little book sale, and I saw a book I wanted to get for 50 cents. And speaking of loose change, I'm thinking, well, I don't have 50 cents. I don't want to put that on my card. So I went to my car, and I did not have change in the drawer. I went under the seats and I found 50 cents. But you're right with not having change. I mean, everything's electronic. So
well, the same thing happened to me last week when I went to the farmers market. Thank God this week the NASA farmers market had their credit card machine. The farmers had their credit card machine working. I bought some stuff and it was like 90 cents. And I'm like, they go, oh, we don't have a card. I'm like, you don't have a card. So, and I'm like, okay, so, we could do an IOU. I'm like, I'm not going to do an IOU for 90 cents. I go, let me look at my car if I have some quarters in there. Nope, I don't, because now I don't need quarters for parking meters anymore either. I don't need, although I hear there's, I hear some of the council members in Montgomery County don't like credit card payments because it's too easy to renew your meters. We use renew the meters, so they want to be they've lost on revenue for parking tickets. Montgomery County. That was a complaint they had about 2 years ago. How they're losing revenue because of the fact that people are paying with credit cards and they're not running around looking for exact change.
You're making me think I need to go and see if I can find my old coin purse, that used to be ubiquitous when I was growing up. That just a little plasticky
thing.
That
fold out. I like that. Yeah. I like
when I was a kid, Dr. Rabinowitz, my granddad's neighbor, gave me one of those coin things, like the ice cream man used to have to make change.
Yeah.
He gave me one of those. And I remember my granddad filled it all up with quarters, dimes, and nickels, right? I go to the arcade at 70. Well, actually, it's just a quarter of ones because back then you could play video games at the arcade for 25 cents. But
I remember the old phones. I just put in a quarter. I remember seeing
phones,
those. You don't see those anymore.
You know, that was one of the funny when we first got the NASA contract. You know, I'm in this building, and they have a rotary phone on the wall. They have a rotary phone in one of the offices. I'm like, wow, this is the building that time forgot. I mean, are you just behind the times on renovations?
Yeah. I came up just after the rotary. I was the push button. The rotary was right before me, right before I started calling.
Really, your grandparents didn't have a rotary phone?
I think they probably did, but I never used it really. I started using when I had the push button.
I remember the Mickey Mouse phone.
Oh,
that was also a rotary. But anyways, back to real topics. You know, we have we've got. By the way, I think one of the biggest downfalls for Kamala is going to be her position in Israel. I mean, you don't get to have, they kill hostage, you can't now tell. And they keep moving the goalpost, Hamas. Every time they want to have a peace deal, Hamas moves the goalpost. So it goes back to when Ehud Barak gave everything, including the kitchen sink, to Yasser Arafat. Yasser Arafat still said, hell no. They don't want peace. They want to be victims. They're like Democrats. They always want to be a victim. I say you let Bibi go through, smash through Hamas, and just total victory.
Yeah, I would think a ceasefire helps Hamas, and so I don't know why they're trying to defeat.
And I think maybe we blow up an Iranian nuclear reactor at the same time, get that done too. May as well. Whenever has the Romulan ambassador told in Star Trek 3? No, Star Trek 4, 5, 6, yeah. They'll never get a better opportunity to knock the stuffings out of the Klingons. But because they'll never be any weaker. I mean, I say let's take out the nuclear reactor now.
If we may not agree with everything that Netanyahu does, but I mean, he's trying to be firm.
No, but I'm just saying, if we had the Dulles brothers running the CIA, that reactor would have blown up many, many, many years ago. They never would have gotten this far. Also, they probably would have toppled the government by now, too.
Well, they got so far because remember the Obama administration and Biden made their little deal with them. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, all the money, the pallets of money that were sent over there, yeah.
Which originally was going to be a treaty, but they didn't have the votes in the Senate, so they decided just to go ahead and do it anyway.
And then we withdrew, and then Joey B comes in, and he basically we're back in that Iranian nuclear deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's horrible. Horrible deal.
Yeah.
John Kerry is such a bad negotiator that you have to wonder, is he on our side or not? Because it's like so bad. If you have such a bad deal, if someone's negotiating such a bad deal for you, don't you wonder, wait a minute, what's up here?
I mean, this is a guy that threw away his medals and they magically reappeared when he ran for president. I mean, John Kerry, enough said. This is a guy that hung out with Hanoi Jane who was working for the Viet Cong, who, by the way, I don't know why she wasn't arrested either for treason.
Well, I agree. I don't know why they didn't go after Jane Fonda.
I mean, you had all those clowns in the moratorium movement. And, by the way, Mark, speaking of American experience, they're doing this next month. They're going to have the American vice presidents. And guess who? One of the vice presidents they will be featuring in there will be Vice President Agnew.
There we go. Let's screw in there.
Vice President Agnew. That's one of the featured VPs that the American Experience people are doing. They've got it as a podcast too, and you can watch it on PBS. But you can't watch it.
I'm sure you're not. I was going to say, I'm sure you're not going to be happy with the result.
No, I mean, I wasn't happy. I mean, I couldn't believe that the video, the podcast, which I don't think was taken from their documentary they did on Nixon and the Madman strategy. They basically glorify the moratorium leaders. Oh, it was just moms like us. We were going there, and and so, like I guess it was David Hawk's mother was. I know David Hawk's wife was like the den mother to them. She'd bring coffee, and we worked at midnight. We never knew we could work that hard. How much you guys have a work ethic and get a real job? This is the reason why the class of '68 went into academia they taught the Gen Xers who are now in academia, and they're the ones that are responsible for all the anti-Semitism on college campuses because they want to. They're mad. I know kids of my generation that are mad. They were not born in the '60s, so they could not go take up arms against the government. Frankly,
I knew a guy that, and there may be something to this. He blamed sort of the campus radicalism, or at least the Iranian Revolution of '79. So many of those students were educated in American schools. And I remember this guy told me that one of his theories was that they learned their anti-Americanism from here. They then went to Iran, and then they took it out on us by storming our embassy and taking our people hostage. There may be something to that.
And now Iran is funding these radicals on campuses.
Yeah. It's a horrible regime.
But Don, we do have a small victory in this fight. University of Maryland changed their mind and is not going to let the anti-Israel folks protest on October 7th. I think that's a victory for us. We got one, we got them to end that, but they'll probably do something even far worse later on down the road.
Yeah, I think and those people are, I think they're upset with the president over there about that decision, but too bad. I mean, these protests have no place on the campus, particularly when they've endangered and are harassing the Jewish students on campus.
I mean, and this has been a tool of the radical left all the way going back to Kent State and Berkeley. President Reagan restored order to Berkeley, and Kent State. I'm sorry, you get in the way, and the National Guard is going to come in, and bad things are going to happen. Frankly, these radicals.
Let me push back.
Okay.
I was going to say, because I don't share your revisionism on Vietnam. I think it was a mistake. But we don't have to debate that now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm not sure the equivalence exists.
No, it is, because it's all it was were campus agitators and radicals. The Bernardine Doyles and the heirs and so on. Those were the class of '68 who were blowing up buildings, and it's the same. It's basically the children of Bernardine Doyle and heirs, and the hippie movement people from the '60s. It all goes back. They have a problem with law and order, and that's they've got a problem with law and order. President Nixon sailed into victory on the law and order campaign in '72 and '68. I think we need to restore order. We need to restore order, and we need to bring back the rule of law.
Listen, I certainly agree with you, but I think you make a mistake, a historical mistake, if you talk about the protests against the Vietnam War as all being sort of the radical SDS Weathermen thing. If you think about it, the Weathermen were an offshoot from what had been a peaceful protest. They were the ones who said, no, we got to go farther. And you're right, they are the progenitors of a lot of radicalism and violent activity. But my point though is I think it's a mistake to use broad brush to say that all of the opposition against the Vietnam War was that.
I think Senator McCarthy and President Nixon probably disagree with you on that, but honestly, Nixon campaigned on ending Vietnam. This was not President Nixon's war. This was
I'm sure they do. And that is actually a broader conversation. Right.
I mean, you can't just cut and run. You
saying
can't
that it wasn't.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and that raises an interesting issue: is that the demands of the anti-war movement changed over time. So it was for a while, it was no escalation, and then it was stop the bombing, and then it was negotiated. When the negotiations didn't go more, then it kind of elevated to kind of pull out. So that is all certainly true. But for a long time, it was really to get people, to get Nixon to do what Nixon ended up doing.
And I think, honestly,
which was
Nixon,
negotiate an end to the
yeah,
war
well, I mean,
and to
well, that's
de-escalate.
that's what the whole madman strategy was, to scare them into thinking, if that, and then you have these moratorium clowns who basically telegraph saying, "Oh, the American people will never stand for President Nixon to go through his plans to nuke North Vietnam," which President Nixon never was going to nuke North Vietnam. I think the only person I actually heard once say that was Barry Goldwater.
That actually wasn't. I think the madman wasn't to nuke
No,
North Vietnam. The madman actually was that
no, I was saying
they were going to go in and bomb the Dike.
Yeah, and one of the things they said in the documentary, but I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, it's from PBS that did that, taxpayer-funded television, but they mentioned how President Nixon was moving nuclear bombers around, moving bombers from one base to another base in somewhere, I guess, in New Jersey. They had a nuclear base there. They put planes on the runway, so it made it look like if, say, they're Russian spies that are looking, they go, "Oh, look, the Americans have all these bombers on the tarmac. What are they going to do?" And stuff like that. I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, I had to say, you got to kind of bomb people to the negotiating table because the Viet Cong did not want to negotiate, and I think going after the guerrilla bases in.
But wait, stop. That's just not true. I mean, there were negotiations going on for Paris for basically 4 years during the Nixon that it all culminated in a peace agreement that it's hard to believe, but that the North Vietnamese and Kissinger ended up getting the Peace Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, Nobel Peace Prize, yes. Which people, it was just funny.
Which obviously there had been some
Yeah, I mean, look, Nixon did get us out of Vietnam. Let's just say that. I just think when you have rabble-rousers who don't know what the hell they're talking about, ruin American foreign policy. The whole moratorium movement people, all the hippie protesters, but I did like the one clip they had. Mostly peaceful protesters came to. That seems to be the mantra of the left, all the way going back to the 60s. It's always mostly peaceful.
Oh, that's true.
But anyway, so I think we've gone through Vietnam. We really Vietnam enough.
Is it productive to talk about what the peace movement did with the nuclear freeze efforts under the Reagan administration?
Yeah, and honestly, that's the other thing. I tell people, if environmentalists were honest, we'd be building 5 nuclear power plants every single year in this country. We would eliminate the need for coal. We can replace all the coal plants with nuclear plants, but they don't want to do that. They don't. They have no intention. They want everyone to be equally miserable. Get us out of here, Don. Another topic.
We are seeing a revival of the nuclear industry, though. I mean, the smaller plants, some even trying to take some mothball plants, bring them back to service, which takes a while to go through the hoops to get that done. But a realization there from a lot of people that that's a clean and cheap energy source compared to a lot of other things, and with all this AI technology and everything else that's going on, the demand on the electricity grid is just humongous, right? I mean, it's just you need another source, and it always does seem to put the all the pro electric. We've got to have the sun power and the wind power. That can't generate. There's not enough energy generation coming from that to power all the needs that we have now.
Yeah, and I agree. And I mean, that's the thing about Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. They stopped LNG, which is another cheap source of energy. We could have been exporting LNG to our friends in Europe. They would not be dependent on Vladimir Putin's gas lines going through Ukraine. But this administration put a hard stop on the on fracking, on LNG. They really are not for nuclear power either.
She's changed her views. She's changed her views.
Oh yes, they say she evolved now.
She didn't change her values, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they play that tape where she says, Joe Biden will not ban fracking. It's like, well, what about you?
Yeah, exactly. And Joe Biden did ban fracking.
Yeah.
And I think
actually, you know what? Someone else said that when she was Attorney General of California, she sued the Obama administration because they were pushing for fracking in California, I guess. So she sued them to stop fracking, but now she's in favor of fracking. That's an extraordinary flip, to use your power as Attorney General to sue to stop something only a few years later to change your mind. That's quite remarkable.
She basically was against fracking before she was for fracking.
Yeah.
To paraphrase John Kerry.
Right.
Yeah, John.
Yeah.
John French Kerry.
Yes.
She was against fracking before she needed
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania's electoral vote.
Pennsylvania. Yeah, that's right. But she's joyful. So, she's flipping her positions, but she's doing it joyfully. So.
By the way, this is Democrats. They're void of joy. Let me tell you a story about when President Bush won re-election in 2004. They were all like mad. There's this guy that was in the same building we had our offices, and he's all sad. His wife had been sick. I go, hey, is everything okay? Your wife? Oh, she's made a full recovery. I go, why you look so glowing? He goes, Jack Bush is president again. We have stuck with him for another 4 years, and then we're going to be stuck with Dick Cheney after that. And then if you remember,
I realized that I was just making fun of the whole joyfulness.
Yeah. Also, if you remember when they took the House and Senate, they were still joyless about that. They were like mad that they didn't get they didn't have a bigger lead, bigger sweep in the House when they took the House in 2018. Was that when they took the House back? The Democrats.
Yeah, I believe so. And then they impeached Trump.
You had Rachel Maddow, who was like in tears the fact that they don't have a bigger majority in the House. I mean, this is it. This is what it's going to be. The majority is going to be 10 to 12 seats, maybe 16 if we're lucky, but it's going to be a 10 to 12 seat difference in either way. So that's the new normal, as the Democrats would say. I think Mark lost his connection.
He had that problem on that.
He's lagging. And yesterday we were talking about, he was saying, Jackie said maybe it's StreamYard. It's not StreamYard because we've been using StreamYard for the last 2.5, 3 years now. And we all use StreamYard. That's why I told him to come on today to Dr. Potts. We'll test it out.
Yeah.
Well, if you lose my connection, it's because of the liberal bias. They're trying to get rid of me. They're trying to silence me.
Oh, Mark's back.
Is he back? All right.
Yeah, he's back. He's got the swirl.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Mark. We can't see you, but we see your name, and we got a block for you there.
Well, speaking of joy, I think making America great again is a joyful thought. That's a joyful statement. But their idea of joy, it's circular logic. She's joyful. Trump's angry. He's mean. He's angry. She's joyful. And then you say, well, why does it matter? Well, apparently it's important to be joyful.
Hope and change worked for us.
Hope and change.
So
but didn't Barack Obama at the convention, yes, she can, because yes, we can, to yes, she can, chanting to get that started when he was speaking there at the convention? But
hey, my question is, what about, this is another bit of their covering up for. Did she work at McDonald's or not?
No, she got closest she got to McDonald's was her Barbie McDonald's playset she had when she was growing up. That is the closest she ever got to work at a McDonald's.
Yeah,
because
I think a lot of people have they've been looking for that. Yeah. And they haven't found any evidence that she did. I mean, McDonald's employs so many people, and has been around for so long. I don't know how well they tracked all the employees, because the turnover in a fast food job is so high.
Well, that's true, but the thing about it is I don't think they'll do any pressing. I don't think they'll look, and I don't think they'll ask her, because they probably assume she's lying. So Dana Bash isn't going to ask her again because she probably feels I'm putting her in a bad spot. So I think this just shows sort of whether she worked there or not. I don't know, but it just sort of shows the bias in the media.
Well, do you think she's looking for a fallback career if this president thing doesn't work out for her? She may want to go get a job at the McDonald's.
But anyway, so I thought it was interesting. Well, if Donald Trump said that he one summer worked at McDonald's, you don't think the media would be combing through that one?
I don't think he ever worked at McDonald's, frankly. I don't.
No, he never did. I'm just saying if he did.
Yeah,
if he did,
yeah,
just
absolutely.
how the media would react. Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, the thing is too is just that she has that interview with with Dana Bash. Waltz is there as her emotional support governor, I think, as Megyn Kelly calls him. And so you have that, but today is September 6th. It has been 47 days since Joe Biden basically dropped out when he made the announcement, dropped out. She has not faced the press in a press conference, right? She had kind of that controlled environment, with Bash, and I guess the Democrats think she did fine, and the Republicans, but I don't know. I mean, I think if you took it objectively, there was just so much to pick apart from that interview that you kind of makes you say, yeah, I understand why it's been 47 days since she hasn't faced the press, because if she actually has to face the press, it'll be far worse than the CNN interview.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Mark, you're back. Are you using Edge now, or are you still on Chrome? I guess that answers the question. It's probably still using Chrome. I mean, I use Chrome. I think, Don, you're using Chrome, right?
Chrome, yeah.
Yeah. Dave, what do you use, Chrome?
I don't think I'm Chrome. I don't think I'm Chrome.
Okay.
But anyway, I hear you guys as long as you hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. We can see you, too. There we go, Mark.
Yeah, but I'm getting along.
Yeah,
we're seeing that. Are you using Edge now, or are you using Chrome? What's that?
No, Edge was worse. Edge was worse,
was
so
it?
I came back on Chrome.
Yeah, you're better now. I mean, we can hear you. But I think we were talking about Kamala and her lack of giving interviews. I think the fact, I mean, David, you remember 1988. It wasn't particularly a good year for President Bush when he was running. And the media jumped all over him because he didn't talk to the press for like 2 weeks or something like that. And then they made fun of him for buying socks at the JCPenney in Frederick,
Yeah. Well, and here in Virginia, we've got one of the hacks, Jeff Shapiro. He writes for the Richmond Times-Dispatch. I remember him criticizing Youngkin after Youngkin became governor because Youngkin was doing a lot of Fox TV interviews.
Yeah.
And so, what's-his-face, Shapiro was whining about that. Now, do you think he complained about Kamala Harris not doing any interviews at all, and she's running for president? No, I don't think he's complained about that because I think they're part of protecting her, and they're not going to press her, whether it's did she ever work at McDonald's or anything else. They're not going to press her. But to show how inept she is, she's not even going to do softball-friendly interviews. She's going to try to avoid that too because even there, it could still go poorly for her.
The truth may slip out, like with Terry McAuliffe when he said at that debate, I don't think you know what your kids are learning in school. Something along those lines.
Yeah, he was horrible. But the thing is, it's not like she's got much of a lead to sit on. That's the other problem with the basement strategy, because I can see if she's up by a good amount, maybe you don't say anything. I don't think she's ahead at all. So I think she'll have to end up coming out and speaking, answering questions, and campaigning. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm too naive.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there's a point there. I mean, because this race is so close, at least if you look at the polls, that she's going to have to do something. She is on the campaign trail and everything, but not facing the press. That's got to end at some point. We've only got 59 more days, till election day. But on the other hand, there's that whole early voting, thing, that machine is now starting to pick up. And so votes are going to start to get cast in a lot of states well before, November 5th. And so there's going to be a lot of votes that'll be locked in. This is a little bit like hiding in the basement, just hide from the press.
Yeah.
And then after it's all over.
Has anybody heard about North Carolina? Are they going to take Kennedy's name off the ballot?
No, that's why the judge basically stopped the ballots. And I think the North Carolina, their response right now is that I think they're going to appeal, but they don't know when they're going to appeal. So the mail-in ballots have been halted for now.
I'm fine with that. Halt them as long as you can. I don't like the whole early voting stuff anyway, but halt it as long as you can.
I remember I was talking to somebody about today. I remember in 2012 we only had election day.
Yeah,
we didn't have early voting.
Now it's a season, election season.
We could do
it's like
the get out the vote effort. Do the big get out the vote rallies Saturday mornings and stuff like that. Now it's just like every day is election day.
Yeah. Look, mail in your ballot and go pick up a pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah.
Because I know how much Dwight loves pumpkin spice.
I'm sorry. I'm seeing pumpkin spice. I saw it actually in July at over at Safeway, like end of July, I want to say, or early August. I saw pumpkin spice, and it's too early for pumpkin spice. It's kind of like how they had the Halloween candy out in July. I'm sorry. What about the Labor Day candy? Why don't we have special candies for Labor Day? And then why don't we have Columbus Day candy? They used to have Columbus Day candy, Don, back when I was a kid. As far as
I'm concerned, it's too early now for Halloween candy. At least wait to the end of the month.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they should be doing their Columbus Day candy. They used to, those little pumpkins. It's like the same stuff you make candy corn out of. They make those pumpkins, but they also had like little Columbus ships and a Columbus head. They had Columbus Day candy back then, and it came with like Indian corn and a bunch of other stuff, Columbus related.
Indian corn. I haven't heard anybody mention that in ages. I kind of forgot about that.
Are we calling it Native American corn?
I don't think you're allowed. You're not allowed to.
Yeah. Oh, we can't say Indian corn anymore.
I don't think you're allowed to say that anymore. I think you're about to get deplatformed on YouTube for.
No. Okay. Here's a question. Okay, if I grow corn in my backyard, I'm of Indian descent. So would that not be Indian corn? Or if I got the seeds from the old country, would that not be Indian corn? Would that be okay?
I think you should call it whatever you want.
The answer is no. So the answer is no, and it's for the same reason that some of Josephine Wang's students asked her if she was racist, which was she was a Republican.
Yeah, that's and that's true. She was accused of being racist because she's a Republican, And
isn't that automatic with a lot of these people? Though, it's like if you're a Republican, you're a racist. The Democrats are never racist. It's just the Republicans that are racist.
Yeah, how soon they forget the party of the Confederacy.
Yeah,
it was a Democrat that murdered President Lincoln.
That's right. Man.
John Wilkes Booth. And they actually have.
So actually, I just checked research. I have my Indian corn now, not the candy, is called flint corn.
Flint corn? Really? I'd rather call it maize than call it that.
Or today's political. Today's politically correct name is ornamental corn too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just silliness.
It is. I mean, that's gone too far.
Well, so, an example of that is, remember Land O'Lakes?
And say, hey, I want some flint corn. Come on, never.
I mean,
Well, I guess you can't say sit Indian style. When I was a kid, they say sit Indian
Oh
style.
yeah.
I like that. You know what
Well,
else was
also,
on a more serious note? The other thing that was horrible. Remember Land O'Lakes, the butter, and they
Yeah.
had the beautiful woman, and
And,
they
and
got rid of
the
her.
candy corn is called Harvest.
Oh yeah, they probably would, wouldn't they? Yeah, because we get to that harvest nonsense now, right? Yeah.
I guess we'll have some solstice candy, you know, like little crescent moons and stuff, full moons of candy. Moon pies. That's for celebrating solstice, you know. But
Moon pies are good.
I never liked moon pies.
Oh, really? Yeah, I like if you mix them with. They go great with Dr. Pepper, and I'm not a Dr. Pepper fan, but a Dr. Pepper and moon pie, the combination is perfect.
There was somebody that liked that a lot. Wasn't there somebody we knew, Don? Wasn't there somebody that liked moon pies and Dr. Pepper? Was it Morton?
Well, it wasn't Dr. Pepper though, but it was Stan Evans was famous for moon pies and coffee.
Okay.
He pretty much it was between moon pies. Coffee, I don't know if he drank a lot of Coke or whatever, but I guess it was moon pies, coffee, and then he smoked a lot. That was what it was. That was pretty much his diet.
Okay. Yeah. You're not going to live long like that, I don't think.
Yeah, but
Did he live to like
how old was Stan
80s?
when he died? He was like 80 something. He was around 80.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
You know, for someone, if that was your staple of your diet, and you live to 80, well, more power.
That's pretty good. Yeah. M. Stanton Evans. Wow. Yeah.
So you know, it sticks in my mind all the time because every time I go through the store, you see these moon pie displays, and that seems to have had a huge revival because, you know, when Stan died and they brought out a lot of moon pies at the reception and everything like that, I thought, I don't even know where you get these things. And now
Cracker Barrel, you can buy moon pies. I get them there.
Now you got a lot of stores you can do it, but this is like a lot of other things in brands, right? You know, Oreo cookies and stuff like that. There are all kinds of flavors. I mean, moon pie didn't have all those flavors before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm sure probably a pumpkin flavor now. You know,
but you know, Cracker Barrel, you can also buy Hydrox cookies at Cracker Barrel.
No, do they? Okay.
That is the original Oreo cookie.
They also have Cheerwine. You ever had Cheerwine?
Yeah, I get that.
My father used to.
When I drive to Florida, I always stop off in North Carolina. I always get a bunch of that stuff.
Because my father's from North Carolina, so he would do the Cheerwine.
Mm-hmm.
That was a North Carolina thing.
And then also North Carolina was also the chewing tobacco is another big thing from North Carolina. Chewing tobacco.
Right. Yeah, that in Virginia, it's part of Virginia too.
And Governor Allen, he's still.
I don't know. I assume he stopped by now. I don't know.
No. You got to watch when he does our other show with Governor Bob.
Did I ever tell you this is a nice story, and I think he'd like this. The thing with the chewing tobacco is that I was a kid coming up in Virginia politics, and I remember hearing a story about him, and it amazingly it endeared me towards him, and then I figured I'd back him, and that is that there was this lady, very snooty sort of country club lady, nice lady, she's passed, but she was at a dinner with Alan. It was a big fundraiser. He's at her table, and he's chewing tobacco. And she, of course, was so repulsed. But when I heard that story, I liked him even more when I heard that story, that he was chewing his tobacco.
And I think I know who that woman was, too.
Yeah, you might have. But I just thought that was such a nice, touching story that it made me like him even more.
Yeah.
But I never got into chewing tobacco. I thought that was disgusting myself. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, well, you don't need the cancer that some of that too. So
I didn't even like chewing gum. Frankly, I thought it was just the taste goes away in like 10 minutes if you're lucky.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd rather have hard candy like butterscotch, something like that.
Do you remember when we were kids? They had Big League Chew, and it was like tobacco, and you put it in your mouth. I don't know if they've gotten rid of that, but I liked it.
They still sell it. I've seen that.
I wanted to feel like I was a big league ball player. So I would take it, I'd put it in my gum like I was chewing tobacco, but it was gum.
So you're pitching for the Wrangler.
That's what I was thinking when you were talking about it. I don't recall that baseball players are really doing that anymore, right? I haven't seen.
Not anymore. But when I was a kid, you'd still see baseball players chewing tobacco.
And they would be doing it right around the dugout.
Yeah.
Everything.
See, Mark, we don't. It's not. This is just everything, politics and everything under the sun.
Potpourri.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about gardening. I got a bumper crop of tomatoes and cucumbers and stuff. But deer have infiltrated my backyard. They come in. I don't know when they come in, but I think I might need to set up some traps. Even the motion sensor lights don't scare them away. It's like, oh, it's light, so now we can see what we're eating better.
Well, even here in McLean, we got foxes. We got a whole family of foxes.
Oh, the other day, where was I driving? I saw a fox with a squirrel in his mouth in the middle of the day.
With what?
A squirrel.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah, they collect dead animals. It's like roadkill.
I see coyotes too. Yeah.
I hope not.
But foxes are nocturnal. They shouldn't be out during the day. That must have been a rabbit fox that we saw.
Well, they're cute, but I try to stay away from them, even though they're not going to cause me problems. I just stay away just in case. They're probably rabid too. Most of them are rabid.
Yeah, I mean, you see.
But I don't know if it's going to get to the problem where they'll have to reduce the population, or you'll have to do a hunt or something.
I heard the other day that they're going to start paying sharpshooters to take out deer.
Okay, yeah, they probably need to, because if you get somebody and if they're dangerous on the road, and if you hit one, they'll do a tremendous damage to the car, and they're stupid, so they won't get out of the way. They'll just look at the cars that's coming right at them.
And the other thing though, but in Montgomery County, they said, "Hey, go shoot a deer," and yet all these Montgomery County liberals shooting John Deere tractors because they got the two-stroke engine.
The thing is that, I mean, they could do some good if they would actually allow hunters to go in and reduce the deer population in exchange for turning the meat over to the shelters or whatever, the pantries, feed other people. I mean, I know that's been done in places, but the PETA type people all around the country, they don't like seeing any of this happen. And so things kind of, man versus nature kind of gets out of control.
But isn't PETA's acronym people eating tasty animals?
That's right. People eating tasty animals.
I think yeah.
What was the bumper sticker? I love animals. They're delicious.
Yep.
Yeah. That was one of Don's, right? That was yours, right, Don?
Oh, was it? Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Don had people eating tasty animals. I think it was
I did not know that.
Animals too. Yeah, that was all Don.
Hold it.
Yeah.
Don, this is amazing. I never knew that was your creation.
Yeah.
I never knew that. All these years, I've been quoting it. I've been enjoying it. I've been laughing about it. I never knew it was yours.
Oh, yeah. And Don also, I mean, he did Annoy the Media, Vote Republican.
Did he do Rather Bias? Remember Rather Bias?
Yeah, we did.
Yep.
Yeah, we had.
That was Don as well. Yeah.
We had so many. We did so much Rather Bias stuff at the '92 convention. It was ridiculous.
Because that's one of my first political buttons. I had a Rather Bias button.
Well, Don had a table, I think, at the '88 convention, the '92 convention, right?
Just at the '92 convention.
The documentary out about Dan Rather, it's sort of trying to rehabilitate him.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. If you think about it, it's been 20 years, 24 years? I'm trying to remember which election he pulled that stunt in.
2004, the re-elect, yeah.
The thing about it, what amazes me, not direct, but just to play on what you said, what amazes me
about... They're trying to revive him as a trusted news person. Yeah. 2004. So that was 20 years ago.
Yeah, what amazes me about that, it's like a Stockholm syndrome or something, that the media always rush to his defense. And I don't know why, because he destroyed their industry. But all these journalists, they look up to him and they like him. And I'm thinking to myself, why? He destroyed your industry. I don't get it.
Yeah, he blew the credibility. Yeah.
Because CBS News, when I was a kid, It was the network of Cronkite, the network of Edward R. Murrow, and it had this great reputation. And one man, Dan Rather, destroyed it. I mean, he destroyed decades worth of work.
Well, what was that book? Who Killed the I in CBS or whatever? That was you know which book I'm talking about, Don. It was basically Who Killed the I. It was basically about how CBS went downhill after the Westmoreland interview or something like that.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I mean, CBS has always been a lefty network. I mean, Walter Cronkite hated Richard Nixon.
Yeah.
You know, he basically
hated Spiro Agnew, I'm sure.
Oh, of course he did. They all hated Spiro Agnew because you know why? Spiro Agnew was Donald Trump G1. Yeah, and he's actually
right.
Actually, in that documentary, he mentioned how that was basically the moratorium movement. That's when Americans lost faith in the media because the media was because after President Nixon's speech, he had thousands and tens of thousands of telegrams and cable sent to the White House saying he's in support. That's where the whole silent majority comes from. And it's like that's when we stopped trusting the media, which probably is about right. And that's when most people, became. I think Republicans became even more. We were always kind of skeptical of the media, but I think 60 Minutes to Westmoreland, the Ted Offensive, all that stuff, and then you get into the 80s, and that's kind of what basically made us skeptical about what the media is telling us, and we kind of questioned their authority. But we're at final thoughts, everyone. It's a fast hour. We'll let Mark. Why don't you go first, since it's your return to the show in many, many moons. Are you lagging or?
Lagging. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Final thoughts, Mark.
Well, looking forward to the debate and looking forward to the spin. I enjoyed if you looked at the employment numbers today, we didn't have a chance to talk about it, but take a look at all the various news accounts of the employment numbers that came out and the different spins attached to it. The headlines are kind of all over the map depending on the political orientation of it, because there's stuff to highlight from each. There's a downward revision of employment. There's a downward. There's plenty for everyone.
Yeah. That it, Mark? Or do you have other thoughts?
That's it. Okay. No more.
All right. Final thoughts, David.
Well, I'll be in the state of Maryland on September 10 at the Green Turtle in La Plata, starting at 5:30. So come see me. I'll have my books, and I'll give a discussion on contemporary politics and my books and how they relate. In effect, it'll be like this show, except at the Green Turtle. So it's a different atmosphere, and the food will be better. Come on out. I'd love to see you. And it's my next. I've had like 3 trips to Maryland, so it's a great state.
And you'll want to leave at 3 o'clock. You'll want to leave at 3.
I'll leave nice and early. I've never been to the Green Turtle. I've always wanted to go, and so and I've never been to La Plata, Maryland. Huh?
It's owned by Republicans. Former Anne Arundel County executive Steve Shue, and I think Lewis Pope was involved in that too.
It's put on by it's the Republican Women of Charles County. So they were nice enough to have me. So God bless them, and it should be a good time. And then the other thing I had is I wanted to pass on to you guys my final part of the final thought. Maybe this has happened to you, or you've seen a similar type fake. I had friended on Facebook, the swimmer Riley Gaines. She's been involved in politics, and she's a conservative. And we had like 5 or 6 mutual friends. So I added her. Well, the next morning, I get this message, "Hey, David, how are you?" And it was from her. And I didn't believe it right off the bat. And I said, well, if this really is Riley Gaines, I'm doing great. Well, then I got like an AI-generated fake Riley Gaines basically saying it's me, whatever. So it's really getting sophisticated. And I don't know what it is about Facebook and other social media, but I get a lot of these sort of fakes. And I just try not to. I'm more careful now. I don't even friend people unless I have a certain amount of mutual friends, because every day I get some friend request and it looks fake, and I don't know who the person is. But I don't know ultimately what the game here is. I'm getting all these things, but I'm just going to try to be careful on that. But anyway, that's just my final thought, and I hope to see a bunch of folks next Tuesday on the 10th.
Cool. Don?
All right. Since David mentioned Facebook and that friend thing, you do have to watch out. One of the common ploys too is these pictures of these women, and they say, "Oh, we have friends, mutual friends in common."
Yes, I've got
right, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I really like what you're doing there, but I can't seem to add you.
Yes.
I've had to warn my friends when I see that, because sometimes I'll I don't, when they say I don't add people I don't know, I send them a message saying like, this is just some bot or some spam thing here. So don't, just delete that post, and block them if you can.
Yeah.
But also I want to this leads me to an unexpected but brief commentary on Facebook itself. So last Saturday, I was up in the morning and I was just doing a few things on Facebook, went off to the gym, came back, and it said, your account has been suspended. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Then you don't know if it's real, right?
Yeah.
They start asking for this information. I started with it and thought, is this really real? And I go to the Facebook page, and I click the links there for things, and it takes me back to some of the same things it was doing. So I thought it was legit, but they required, do you have to take a picture of yourself, and then send them also a picture of your driver's license, and then they say they'll let you know, maybe within a day or so, as to whether or not you're going to be back. And it says, by the way, he says, this is your one and only appeal.
Wow.
If you lose this appeal, that's it.
I think those are scams.
You can't speak to anybody, right? It's a free service, right? I mean, they make tons of money off all of us, of all our data. And they give you one appeal. They don't tell you why they've suspended you.
Yeah, why? Why did they do that?
Yeah, but a few hours later, I happened to notice it was back up and running, and I'm like, I have no idea what just happened here. But it's just it's a weird kind of a thing like that. And I think, I noticed when I posted that, I had some comments from some friends of mine, thinking about kind of the anti-conservative, kind of thing going on with Facebook and big tech and whatnot. Because people still think that way.
And that's like a big scam, Don, because I get alerts every time saying that we're going to permanently delete your channel. They say that about Dr. Paul. They say that about,
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I get it for AIA. I mean, I see you get
those
all
are all
messages,
fakes,
right? Yeah, there's all that. That is a big thing. They keep coming in every day. There's a message, and
Facebook needs to do something about that, though. Facebook really should. Zuckerberg needs to spend some money instead of spending it on some Democrats. Why don't you spend it in securing your platform?
Yeah, well, it can be like Donald Trump, right? He wants to put Elon Musk on a panel. That is not making the liberals too happy about that. But anyway, quickly, my other final thoughts would just be, Liz Cheney is going to vote for Harris, and apparently so is her dad. Oh, of course.
Yeah.
The family votes together, and yet, I think if you may have seen either the tweets or whatever, where she just, she made some remarks about Harris from a few years ago, that were completely opposite. But she hates Trump so much.
Yeah.
That remarks.
I think we need to kick the Cheneys out of the Trilateral Commission.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter anymore. It's but
I say good riddance to the Cheneys, honestly.
Well, look, I mean, Liz Cheney voting for Kamala Harris is not going to move the needle, right?
No.
Who cares about that, really? But
And the lefties always hated Dick Cheney. They always hated Dick Cheney.
They were going to arrest him. Remember, they were going to arrest him
That's right.
for war
That's
crimes.
That's
They were going to
right.
arrest George W. Bush for war crimes.
Yep.
But the little known on that, John McCain's son.
It's all is.
Yeah.
All is forgiven now because they're voting the right way.
Yeah.
It's
and if Harris wins,
war crimes are all forgiven, forgotten. It's just
yeah.
Yeah,
I see Liz may be asking for a Harris administration position here if that comes to pass. But then my last thing too is CNN cannot be any more of a loser network than the fact that they've now rehired Brian Stelter after firing him a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Okay? Brian Stelter is horrible. He was one of the worst, and they're bringing him back. But CNN just shows just how badly things are going there that they've got to bring this guy back.
John Lemon is probably waiting in the wings too. He's probably on his way back to CNN too.
I mean, who knows what they're trying? I mean, the networks they're a complete mess. The company itself is losing money hand over fist. It's a complete mess now. And and how many people and CNN? Nobody's really watching it, right? So
they're owned by Discovery now, right? Discovery Communications.
Yeah, Discovery, Warner Discovery, I think it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, that's it. Back to you, Dwight.
Yeah, my final thoughts is this guy, Neil Parrott, is ahead in the polls now in CD6. So dig into your wallets, send him some money, so he can get on television.
I think he's got a real, not to interrupt you, I think he's got a real shot, and I think his opponent seems like a real weak candidate.
Yeah, I mean, she's even worse than her husband was. She's to the left of John Delaney. She buys into all of this crazy wacko lefty. She's for defunding the cops. She's for, pornography in public schools. She's just a horrible, horrible person. And having Neil in the United States Congress would be great. We need more engineers in the United States Congress because they're actually methodical and they actually know what they're doing and they understand stuff. Another thing, I want to give another shout out to Sammy Marco. He's got a great channel on YouTube about trains and all sorts of stuff. He talks about traveling on the trains and buses and stuff. And another great channel, if you're into trains and transportation modes, is Trains Are Awesome. There's this Dutch guy living in DC named Tom TH, who does that channel. He puts together great stuff, and he travels all over. He kind of inspired me to write a couple of articles, like one on the California Zephyr and the Western Maryland Railroad. Two good channels. I like promoting our Maryland DMV based YouTubers. And another great one from a local guy is this guy named Sean of Steel. He does reviews and so on, and reactions to videos and so on. Check them out. Great people. And my final thoughts is we lost our friend Josephine Wang last week. Actually, this past weekend, I should say, last weekend. And I just want to share a little clip we have of when Josephine was on Dr. Politics. It's on YouTube. Hold on, let me cue it up. But it's she tells her story. She's got the great immigrant story where she's talking about coming to America and the struggles, and how overcoming adversity. And here, hold on one second. Here we go. So this is Josephine. She came on.
How did you make me do that stuff?
Yeah. Really, look at this.
Wait a second. That wasn't me. And Ryan looks like he's about 8 years old.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Seriously, look at this.
2019.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh, that's a classic. That's a classic.
Back when we were in the studio.
Yeah.
That's good.
But I think this is a lot better. I think check it out. It's on YouTube. It's a great video. And it is 23 minutes long, our interview with Josephine.
Yeah, those are the days of the real endless shows.
Looks good.
Yeah.
How old was Josephine?
She was, I think the obituary said 82, 83, something like that.
All right. Yep. 82. Okay. I assume you're not going to run the entire segment, Dwight.
No.
Okay.
But it's a great video. It's on YouTube. You can get to it from our Facebook page. It's on the Montgomery County Republican Club's Facebook page. Check it out. It's a great 23-minute long. It is very, very entertaining, I think. And that is classic Josephine there. No filters. That is Josephine. She's not saying anything she wouldn't say when she was off camera. So we're going to miss Josephine. Yeah. But with that, good night, everyone. We'll see everyone next week.